So you want to buy a Boeing Stearman. Stearman is another legend. Over 10,000 were built during a very short time during World War II. Its purpose was as a primary trainer for military pilots. It was designed to be hard to fly in an effort to prepare its trainees to move on to other aircraft that were also hard to fly. They're top-heavy. They have narrow, conventional gear, and you can't see a damn thing out the front. Whew, you had me at top-heavy. Though the Stearman, unlike the bigger and faster warplanes it was preparing pilots to fly, was still useful after the war ended. Thousands were auctioned off and continued flying as civilians. Stearmans are actually quite large. Compared to some other biplanes we see frequently in GA land, Stearman's imposing. There are a bunch of versions. I'll have between 200 and 225 horsepower, and while they're in no way fast, they're fully aerobatic at plus 12 and minus 9 Gs. You'll be a puddle of goo on the floor of the cockpit before you bend this thing in the air. Aside from major G tolerance, performance is as you'd expect. The drag of large biplanes knows no bounds. Price varies greatly depending on where it stands in the restoration process. At an average of 80 years old, any flying Stearman has undergone some degree of restoration and probably could do well with some more. As far as getting insured, insurance companies I talked to required 25 hours on the model, plus 250 hours of tailwheel time, plus 1,000 hours of total time. If you had less than that, the insurance premiums quoted here would be more than doubled, and this is for a private registration. Commercial operators would be an order of magnitude more once again. 15 gallons an hour fuel burn was pretty good, I thought, considering how honkin' the big radial is up front, and a big radial that was designed in the 1920s no less. Engine overhauls for about $40,000 and about 1,200 hours. Overall though, not a complicated airplane. They're large and have lots of parts, but relatively simple. No air conditioners, no retractable gear, no fancy electronics, inflatable door seals. They don't even have roofs to worry about. Any long-time channel viewer will know my affinity for open cockpit flying. It's as close to a flying motorbike as you're going to get, and that's a good thing, according to me at least. For better or worse, the majority of my flying these days is sitting with my legs crossed, pushing buttons and talking on the radio, which is not quite the same as feeling the breeze, smelling the trees, with a little sprinkle of hot radial oil mixed in. I like cars, but I love motorbikes. I like airplanes, but low and slow open cockpit flying is on another level entirely. Boeing Stearman is a lot of airplane for most pilots. 10,000 hours at Delta will do little to prepare you to fly one. Doing so requires you to take a very specific path on your aviation journey, and it's a path that doesn't lead to huge airline bucks, at least not directly. Luckily for us though, Stearman and similar planes like Waco are some you really don't need to own to go flying in. There are many places that offer rides in such planes, and I've taken such rides, and it's fantastic. When you're the passenger, it's the view of the side that's important, which is outstanding. Let the pilot worry about landing with his eyes closed. That's Boeing Stearman. Thank you for watching. Thank you Dynon for sponsoring. See you in the next.